there are tons of workouts that are going to help you be a better arm wrestler. What I'm going to show you here is kind of a warm-up, basically, or just basically a pump. You can just do this at any time during the day. I'm pretty much doing 100 reps, or those little bounces that you see me doing. That's basically what I call a rep. So, I mean, some people might even define this as basically a static exercise. I mean, it's not really plyometric. It's very heavily endurance-based. I think that this is very much volume and base building and rehabilitative. So I'm starting off with my post, which is probably one of the most important exercises. The post gives the high hand. It leads to the high hook. The post is what leads to all great things in arm wrestling. Moving on to what I think is perhaps one of the most critical exercises in arm wrestling, high Cup Multispinner. What I mean by high cup is it's stabilized by pronation. So that means that the pressure is coming out around your lead finger, your second finger, I guess, index finger. And this exercise is, in my opinion, one of the very greatest strap-based exercises that you can do. It leads to your opponent being extended away from their body while you maintain hand and shoulder control. It's a very powerful exercise. Yeah, one I've always focused on since I started messing around with multi-spinner. Moving on to belt pronation with obviously with pulling, with posting, with up pressure. While I'm doing this exercise, I am heavily thinking about my thumb and making sure that I contract my thumb with every single pulse or drive that I'm doing. I'm trying to keep my elbow angle fairly tight. Almost all the exercises that I do are based off of being strong in the center of the table, exactly where your hand is going to be on the opening of the arm wrestling match, where your hand is when the match is starting. Because if you can win here, you win the entire match. On to low cup multi-spinner. This is stabilized through supination and shoulder commitment along with cup. In my opinion, this is the greatest strength required to do all inside movements in a strap. So that's shoulder coming forward while maintaining any kind of hand control. This drive is what leads to you having favorable position on the inside in a strap. So I do really get a little bit of a burn. I try and set my weight so that I'm not really going too deep into the burn. I'm trying to just really facilitate healing, base building, and stimulation of all the tissues. So in getting my joints healthier. What you see in here is what I call internal post. So it's really post where you're focusing on seeing your palm with a little bit of a twist. It leads to regripping. It leads to shoulder commitment. It leads to an advancement of shoulder position while maintaining post. Really important if you're going to do any kind of movement to the inside. Now, just general cup. The cup can never be understated in the arm wrestling game. probably kind of like the ace of spades. It doesn't matter what style you do, whether you're a fundamental arm wrestler, hooker, top roller, high hooker, presser, king's mover, flopper, strap puller. It doesn't matter. When you talk about arm wrestling, the cup is likely your main drive in almost any movement. So just a little bit of extra jam on that. I'll do these workouts kind of all through the day if I have a day where I can kind of be at home. And typically they're done when I'm a bit banged up. Note how I enter this move. So it's basically the reverse of a post. And a lot of people talk about side pressure in arm wrestling, and I am not a fan of side pressure. I think it's fundamentally just a flawed way to look at the sport. I just think it's so far away from natural mechanics. Not that I don't want more side pressure. I absolutely want more side pressure. But if I'm going to press, I am aiming to get right behind my hand and be able to push. And as you see, this is what I'm doing here in this movement. I am pushing in a press, trying to force my hand downwards. Sometimes I do this with a supinating pressure, but here I'm doing it with a straight downwards pressure. If you're going to press, side pressure it's just one of those things that is very touchy. Last, but not least, all part of the big picture arm wrestling is the kickback. And kickback, really important in regripping when you have control of a match and somebody's trying to give away their pronation and they're coming in supinating. When you have the ability to kick back, you can facilitate more dangerous regrips to your opponent. You will stack components against their hand, and you'll be able to isolate the bottom of their hand far better, and you'll be able to regrip into a much emptier space. Anyways, that's a workout that you can just go and do at any time and stack on one arm and give yourself a really great pump, and it all adds up. And yeah, I got myself one of these little fish scales, so now I can kind of try and tell exactly how much what I'm lifting is, because I never really knew how much the apparatus weighed on this table. And it's a little bit spotty actually, depending on where it is that I'm pulling it. But we're looking at about 21 about 21 point something kilo there. So hope you guys got something out of that. Turn and burn.